Hi, welcome to the Pam Goodwin Show. I am thrilled to have our next guest. She started out thinking she wanted to be a country singer and then launched a cleaning business. And then she decided with $33, she was the founder and president of Gigi's Cupcakes based in Nashville, Tennessee. She starred on Undercover Boss, and now she is doing some amazing things, and I cannot wait to ask her all kinds of great questions. Welcome, Gigi.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Well, thanks. We're based here in Dallas, and I was just recently in Nashville. That's great, and I'm so glad you're able to be on the show. I noticed one thing on your Instagram. You had posted that I saw you had a ball cap with OU on it.
Oh,
so,
yeah. I'm an OU fan. I'm from Oklahoma originally, so I was born there, and then my grandparents had a farm there for years, and then I've gone back every summer for most of my life. So I'm a big OU fan.
Well, I'm a big Nebraska fan. I went to the University of Nebraska Cornhusker, and then our oldest son went to OU, and so I had to start buying OU stuff. But I'd love to hear your story of how you got started. I know, reading about how you wanted to be a country singer and you moved to Nashville early on. I'd love to hear your story.
Well, okay, we'll just get right into it. I was a entrepreneur at heart when I was a kid. My dad was a serial entrepreneur, and we had Potbelly Pig business and an arcade and a hair salon and restaurants, and he didn't succeed at everything, but what he taught me is that don't be afraid to fail and just keep going, and God has always got your back. So I was raised with that in my mind, just, God, even if I fail, God's got you, and just keep going and keep really working on what you are destined to do on this earth in your time. And so I wanted to be a country music singer, songwriter at 7. And then I needed a job, and at 15, I started a cleaning company called Gigi's Cleaning Company. And I've cleaned about 65,000 toilets in my lifetime, which I'm very proud of, because hard work, no one can ever take that away from you. Hard work and dedication and tenacity. And then I moved to Nashville and started singing and, doing all the things here in Nashville and across the country and parts of the world. And it came to be where it was just time. I'd been singing for almost 20 years, and I've had my cleaning business. And one day I was cleaning a toilet for a new family in town, a house actually. And I was cleaning the teenager who was going to be a rising star. She was 15, and I was about 29 at the time, 28. And she played Teardrops on my guitar. And as she sat on her bed, and I was cleaning her bathroom, and I thought, this Taylor Swift, I think this is going to happen for her. And that night, I packed my cleaning supplies in my truck, and I drove home brokenhearted and had to find a new dream and a new path. And it's all about reinventing yourself and recreation. And so I expanded my cleaning business. And then I was cleaning another client's bathroom one day, and my brother called from New York City. He stood in line at a cupcake shop for 2 hours. And while he was eating a red velvet cupcake in Central Park, he's like, "You should open a cupcake shop in Nashville." I was like, "What?" And I thought, why not? Why not me? And I took out, I had a little bit of savings, and I had great credit. And I'd been in business like 17 years at that time. And so I went to 4 banks, and they all laughed in my face. And they're like, "Cupcakes? That'll never take off. Are you kidding me?" They all called me crazy. And so I took out $100,000 cash advances on my credit cards and went for it.
Wow.
And Gigis Cupcakes was born February 21st, 2008 in downtown Nashville.
Wow, what a great story. I love that. I know being in commercial real estate and helping a lot of small business owners and trying to get a loan. I don't think a lot of people think about taking out credit cards and taking out that debt. And then I I read or heard that when you opened it, you only had $33. But I want to go, what gave you the courage? I find so many female entrepreneurs have fear, won't take that chance.
Right.
And I'm a person of faith too, and believe in God, and we all have that passion or, what we're supposed to be doing. But how did you overcome that fear of taking out $100,000 in debt? Which I think is good debt, and so many people are afraid of bad debt.
Right. Well, I had no other option, but I knew that I was being led to do this. And I haven't been led to do a lot of things in my life, but this was one thing where I really felt pushed to do. And I was scared to death. It wasn't that I wasn't afraid, but you can feel fear. It could be in the room with you, but that doesn't mean you have to acknowledge it and be paralyzed by fear. Fear is just an object that you have to go around, blow up, climb the mountain of fear, whatever you have to do. You have to see fear as an obstacle that you must get through. And most people, 99% of all people, are so afraid to fail. So they won't climb that mountain of fear because they are afraid of what's on the other side. And it's also pride. They're afraid to admit that they failed, right? Because I'm just at that point to where I don't care if I fail. I would rather live with the why not instead of the what if. I don't care anymore. I just know that I don't want to regret.
I feel that too. Just in October of 2019, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and finished treatment all of 2020. And I know how that fear felt of finding out, but now overcoming that and being able to, nothing scares me. And I'm taking action and big goals and being bold, and it sounds very similar. So I love that. Going back to finding that first location, how did you find that first location in Nashville? And then I heard, you had a line yourself. So I can't imagine how that felt.
Well, first of all, my mom had breast cancer as well, and she had a double mastectomy, and she lives outside of Dallas. So I really commend you on your bravery, because it's a very hard thing to go through. And thank you for surviving and for being that person where people can look up to you, because it's very important that we have those role models. But as far as the property, I found the first property I went to, one of my cleaning clients was living right across the street, and he called me one day. He's one of my best friends still to this day, and he said, "Hey, there's a little property up right across the street. You should come over here." Well, that night I went, and my other brother at the time was just here visiting. I said, "Hey, let's get in the truck. I think I found a spot." And I sat and I stood in that property and I looked into that window, and I had literally a feeling of, this is it. And I saw myself baking cupcakes and going into that. It was the strangest thing. And I said to my brother and to my friend, I'm like, "This is it." And they're like, "Oh, no, this is the first place." I said, "No, this is it. This is the gold mine. This is it." And so I took the little number that was on the side of the wall there, and I called him, and he's like, "Cupcakes? Are you out of your mind? No way." And so I bugged him and pursued and persisted and brought him cupcakes and brought him things for about 2 months. And he finally broke down and let me lease that perfect space. And I knew that's where I needed to make my start. Nashville's so hot. It was hot 10 years ago or 13 years ago now. And it was just becoming really hot. It was becoming a real foodie town. And Nashville has this energy of supporting new, and because there's always new artists coming up. And so we have this energy here of supporting local and new businesses. And so I just knew it.
I love that. I tell my small business owners looking, you can feel it in your gut when you know it's the right location. And so so you decided to, at that time, have franchisees all over you went corporate?
No, not at all.
Now, how did you go from one to the next one,
5 years, 120 in 5 years. Well, that's the next. So I just wanted one store. one shop. And I just wanted to, and so when I opened my doors, I only had $33 left to my name. And I was just like, God, please bring customers. And I opened the doors and he did. And then lines formed. And here I was all of a sudden in this business of, it was amazing. And then my landlord, who didn't believe in me at the beginning, he came in, he's like, you should franchise this concept. And I'm like, what's a franchise? And so I started reading. I'm an avid reader. And so people that would started coming into Nashville came all across the country. They're like, we want a Gigi's. We want one of these. We want one of these. I'm like, no, there's no one of these. There's this one. And I'm Gigi. And what are you talking about? You want one. We want a franchise. I'm like, it was demanded. Does that make sense? And like this snowball had started and I couldn't stop it. And it just went from one store literally to 120 stores in 24 states in 5 years. And in that middle part, I had a child on my own and raised her on my own and took her everywhere with me and supported her.
That's amazing how that happened. Just and opening right in 2007 and 2008 during the recession. On top of that, and then being a single mom, and I'm a mother too, trying to balance work and all that. Right. So I can't imagine trying to open up a retail store, have a little one on your little baby, and then having all of the good problem of having customers during that time of a recession.
Right. I mean, I remember she started traveling with me at 6 weeks old. And I wanted to always have a child. That was always my biggest dream of all. So she's the best thing I ever baked. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And so our home was just in a hotel or on an airplane or in a different store, but we were at least together, and I was a part of her life and we were together. So that was what was really important to me.
And does she like to bake, cook?
She does. She loves to bake. She loves to create. She's always, creating. Mommy, I'm going to create this, and I'm going to be this business person. And so I think some of that's rubbing off on her, which is good.
I love that. I love that. So after you decide, you have all of these stores, and I did read that you ended up selling it to, I believe, a Texas company, and now you're launching a new company. And if you'd like, I'd like to hear about that.
Right. So at 5, my daughter was 5. And when she was born, I had 65 stores. And by the time she was 5, I had 120 stores. And I was like, I'm ready to I want to have a normal life for her. And it's just time. I was fighting the franchisees and fighting it was time I wasn't creating anymore, really. I was just doing business. And so I wanted to get off the road and be a stay-at-home mom and raise her. She was going to go to kindergarten, and I just wanted a normal life for her. And so I sold, and they went bankrupt at 2 years after I sold, and I tried to buy it back, and someone outbid me in California, and it is what it is. It's been very painful in lots of ways. And then I finally I just decided that Gigi's, I needed to close that door and open a new window. And so February 29th, 2020, I sold my last store in Nashville, and then COVID hit. And so there I was without a job, without an identity. And what am I going to do to feed my daughter, make a way, support myself? And so I started delivering meals in my home because people were shut in. They didn't go anywhere. So I'm like, I'll call my social media manager, and I said, hey, put it together a website. Let's do this. So that's where the birth of Pies by Gigi happened. And then I found this place and brick and mortar in the middle of a pandemic, like here we are. And I decided to open Pies by Gigi, which we have turned it into now Gigi's Kitchen, because we do so much more than pies. We do casseroles and salads and paninis and shepherd's pie, chicken pot pie, and we do a lot of catering. So it's now Gigi's Kitchen.
I love that. So where are you? Where did you find your space in Nashville or
in Brentwood, Tennessee?
Okay.
And it's 2,500 square feet. So we seat 40. We're doing a writer's night there tonight. And so I'm singing actually at my own writer's night. I normally don't, but tonight I'm doing a writer's night there with a few friends. And we do lots of bridal showers and company parties there and canasta parties and book clubs. And so it's a place that we can really have community, a lot of Bible studies, and just people can come in and feel home and comfort.
I love that. I know it's all about, I always look for places that, engagement and the overall experience and a place that makes you feel good. So next time I'm in Nashville, which will be coming up here next month, actually,
Wonderful.
I will have to stop by and try it out. I wanted
to treat you to lunch. You let me know.
Oh, that would be great. What advice do you have for women? So many, we talked a little bit earlier about so many women they have an idea. What would you recommend, taking that action and taking that step as far as what they need to do to, really move forward towards their dreams?
Right. Well, if you have an idea and it keeps nagging at your gut, right? And it just keeps nagging at you, like, I need to do this. That's the prompting of the Holy Spirit saying, you got to create, because we're creatures that need to create. That's how God made us. So if you're not creating and you're not doing what you were destined to do, you're really doing the world a disservice, right? Because you're so afraid of fear and afraid of failure. And so I would just say, first of all, if it's nagging at you, start researching, start figuring out what your thing is going to be, how special it's going to be, and do some research, and then go further with maybe putting a website together or getting it branded or getting a logo or getting it, you just have to take those steps. But the most important thing is taking those steps. If you stay right where you're at and you just stay in your comfort zone, you're never going to grow.
Yeah, that's great advice. I think the other thing with women I've traveled, all over and attended lots of events, and so many also just say that they have a hard time getting capital. So I love your story of, my motto is never, never give up and find a way. So I'm sure now, with you being in business, those banks, they're probably, requesting you to now take out loans from them, right?
Well, they were before COVID hit. Right. They were, but everyone, it's just been a different world since then, hasn't it?
I know it's really changing a lot. The restaurants based here in Dallas, are starting to reopen. New concepts are coming out. There's new opportunities. People are calling me for second generation, wanting a lot of coffee houses these days.
Nice.
Variety, which is really nice. I wanted to ask you, how was it being on Undercover Boss? What was that experience like for you?
Well, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but yet the hardest things we do sometimes are the most rewarding things. And so I could say in my top 10 of what I've done in my life, that was one of the most rewarding things. And you get an opportunity. I grew so fast that I didn't know everyone in my company. I mean, I went from one store to 120 stores. So you don't know everyone. But what I realized is the good thing about it is there were so many passionate people that loved my concept and loved my brand and believed in my brand, which was really great to see and great to hear. But also I found out that we were consistently inconsistent because we had grown so fast, right? So as soon as I finished that filming and it came out, I was like, we've got to get more consistent. So we started hiring the right people, and we started making the way we do business and how we do things more consistent, so we could brand better. And those are the two biggest things I took from it.
Yeah, I think the consistency, especially when you have more than 100 locations and everybody going into that concept, wanting to make sure it tastes exactly the same.
the challenge. And I'm looking at your cupcakes today right on there. And I'm like, wow, they did the swirl perfect. That's exactly what I think. That's a cookie dough. I'm not sure, but I think that's a cookie dough. And then a sundae, chocolate sundae or something.
Yeah, it
But
looks like the banana. Some Sunday banana. My son
right.
picked
So
up.
the swirls, what's most important, the consistency, the customer experience is very important. You know, it's a Southern based company, whether you're in Fargo, North Dakota, or in Kansas, you want to feel that presence of what Gigi's Cupcakes really was and is, and to feel the love of it and the passion. And that's what I hope that people, when they come and experience a pie or they've experienced a cupcake or a casserole, that they just feel the passion, because my life is full of just tenacity and passion and not giving up, and the American dream.
I love that. I know there's a Gigi's Cupcakes right by our house. And so if I have a meeting to go to, or I was just meeting with jewelry designer, I helped them find a location and they were cleaning my rings. I'm like, I am stopping by and bringing them some cupcakes.
Nice.
They loved it so much.
Oh, nice. They're beautiful little gifts.
Instead of flowers or I didn't know what to bring them, but I'm like, everybody loves cupcakes.
Right.
And
everyone loves a homemade gift.
And they are a artwork. And what'd you have, like 275?
Yeah.
Something, like that. And then you named them. You named them all.
Well, I used to write songs. So instead of writing songs and getting up in the morning going, oh, that's a great line, or that's a great note, or I would go, oh, that's a great cupcake name. And now I'm like, oh, that's a great pie, or that's a great pie bar, because we do a lot of lemon bars and coconut bars and things. I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So creation can change. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're writing a song or you're cleaning a house and figuring out the square footage, or you're making a cupcake or making a pie. It's all about creating, and it's all about using your gifts, not being afraid to use your gifts to fulfill your purpose here on earth, because that's really what we're supposed to do.
I love that. I wanted to tell you that one of my best friends here in Dallas, she actually won for her pie at the state fair for the best pie.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and so I always have my request of this white chocolate she gets from France, and then this coconut pie, whatever she makes, but they're incredible.
Oh, it sounds wonderful.
I know. So I also read that you had a book that came out, which I'll have to, get that copy of it. So you've completed a book. That's excellent. Right. Secret Ingredients, and sharing your success and stories.
Right. So I wrote that. I wanted to have time to write that book as well when I sold Gigi's Cupcakes. And so I wrote that book. I do a lot of public speaking across the country. I did before COVID, but now it's building back up. And then opened the pie shop. And one day I did my one speaking gig in 2020 was for the Dave Ramsey Group. And this lady was there, and her background is in musicals, and she was one of the speakers as well. And she came to me a couple months later and said, I have this crazy idea. I want to come see you. So I sat down in my pie shop, and she's like, I want to do a musical about your life. I said, I'm sorry. And she's like, well, I hope you don't think I'm crazy, but it's already halfway written. And I said, I need some time to think about it. And then it just came about. So now we've written this beautiful musical called the Music City Musical, Dream Again. And we are pitching it to possibly do a show here in Nashville and possibly a movie. So,
oh my goodness, how exciting.
It's so exciting. It's so fun. And they can find us on Music City Musical on Instagram. And of course, everything official Gigi Butler on Instagram. You can find what's going on in my life, and the Gigi's Kitchen and Bakery. We have that as well. So we're just recreating, right? Just keep creating, keep figuring things out. Not everything always is a gangbuster and will work. But sometimes we create a business, or we do something and make a business not for wealth, not for fame, not for, oh, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. Sometimes you go into something because you're meant to learn something. And it may not be about money and success, but it's about what can I learn from this experience? So if people go in it thinking, even if I don't make $1 million off this, it can lead me to something else that will, or more wisdom of what not to do or what to do. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm just learning.
I love that. I know I'm an avid learner too. I didn't like to learn too much in school setting, but I like to really learn now. It's funny because I went off to, I'm from Omaha and then moved to Baltimore and then ended up living in Los Angeles to try I drove across country looking for fame and fortune, and it reminded me of you when you took off for, Oklahoma to Nashville, to have that in common. I didn't find the acting and fame and fortune, but like you said, every one of those really helps you learn in different things, and that's what makes life so exciting. I have one last question for you, and I know you've done a lot, but what else is on your bucket list?
Well, I want to have this musical come into fruition, and that's a big goal. I would love to have the pie shop really, or the Gigi's Kitchen really doing gangbusters, and we ship nationwide now, which is great. We ship our pies and casseroles nationwide. So I would like that to grow. I would also really like my daughter to just find her niche. I mean, I really just want my daughter and to be who she's supposed to be. And I want to leave a legacy of love. Whatever that is, that's my goal.
Oh, that's a wonderful goal. I'm sure with your help, and there's so many great things that the young girls can do today, and there's so many more women today that they have great role models, and so I'm sure she'll find her niche and be successful too. It's exciting, I'm sure, to watch her grow and find interest in different things. I started off at a lemonade stand, and so
yeah. Me too. I think most of us entrepreneurs did, right?
Did you ever deliver newspapers?
No, I didn't, but my brothers did.
Okay.
I delivered fruits and vegetables in my red wagon to the neighbors, so.
I think that's a little better than newspapers, but all that's good experience. Do you get back to Oklahoma? Farm back there?
I don't much. I don't. I come to Dallas a lot because most of my family lives there now, outside of Dallas. And but I was raised in California. I don't know if you know that, but I was raised in the high desert in California, in Palmdale, Lancaster area. And so we'd go back to Oklahoma every summer on my grandparents' farm. But I was raised in California, and I moved from California to here.
Got it.
And it was in between Bakersfield and Los Angeles, and just a little desert town, and everyone was in 4-H, and I lived on a farm, and it was just, it was simple, and it was great.
I love that, and I've been to Bakersfield, the garlic capital.
The garlic capital of the world. Right. Right? I mean, and the Antelope Valley grows so many onions. I used to clean for an onion farmer out there that provided like 10% of all of the onions in the country. So it was great, really great.
Oh, I love that, all that experience as well. I'll make sure, but how is the best, I think you mentioned, but the best way to reach out to you is on social media. I know you're posting on that and your websites.
Right. And gigibutler.com or official Gigi Butler, you can get a hold of me there, or Gigi's Kitchen and Bakery. We have everything on that. And then we also have the Music City Musical.
Oh, so. I can't wait for that. That's going to be great. You'll have to let me know.
There's a cool song called Dream Again. So it's, I can dream a new dream So we're excited.
I love that. So are you still singing? I saw on Instagram tonight you may be singing, correct?
I am. I'm singing at my own writer's night, for goodness sake. So yes, I'm singing tonight. I sing at church once a month, which is great. I sing in the choir, which is awesome. And then I sing at occasional writer's night at my place. And then now the Music City musical. I won't be myself in the musical, but I might be my Aunt Benny in the musical. So I might have a little cameo.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, if you need a background actress, I could do that, okay?
Perfect. I'll call you.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time. I know you're super busy, and when I'm out in Nashville next month, I am stopping by for any of your coconut, anything you have coconut, peanut butter, chocolate.
I have a coconut cream pie and a coconut raspberry walnut chocolate, white chocolate bar. Ugh. So yes, come visit me.
I will. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Gigi.